Hi everyone, welcome back to the Stitch Sessions. We have a short and sweet tutorial for you today. It is part number 3 of our Crochet Christmas cardigan. Now, if you're new here, my name is Karen and I adore sharing my love of crochet and crafting with crochet with all of you. And if you missed the first 2 parts to this cardigan, no worries. I will leave links for those in the description box down below. So all we're going to work on today are the sleeves of our cardigan. So in part number 1, we worked on the initial bottom trim because again, we are working this cardigan from the bottom, working our way up. So we started with the bottom trim. Then in part number 2, we talked about the body. So that probably took you a little bit longer because we worked the bodice up all the way to under the arms, and then we worked the rest of the front panels as well as the back panels and sewed up your shoulder seams. So today what we're doing is we are going to work around those armhole openings, and really nice and simple. We're just going to start you with your first row, which is a single crochet round, I should say. I said rows, but it should be rounds. And then all you're going to do is continue on with your linked single crochet stitch, just continuing as many rounds as you would like for the length of your sleeve, and I will go into detail with that in today's tutorial. So are you ready to get going? Let's do it. Okay guys, are you ready to start part number 3? We are going to move on to our sleeves. So at this point, you've finished sewing in your shoulder seams. Make sure you now turn your cardigan right side out. So for me, that's my right side, that's the wrong side, and that is how we are going to work the sleeves. In this version of creating a bottom-up cardigan, we are going to crochet our sleeves right on the armhole that's already formed. So what you want to do is you want to grab your hook and grab your yarn. Okay. And I always like to begin these types of sections of a cardigan right just under the arm here. So I'm just going to pick a stitch here. I guess this one right here where we started working our rows going up. So remember, we have 30 rows going up on this side, 30 rows going up on that side. So we're going to be working into the sides of rows. So I'm just going to insert my hook there, and then I'm going to place my yarn and pull that through and chain 1. Okay. And so for our first round, we're just going to kind of establish the shape. So we're just going to simply do regular single crochet stitches here. And we're going to work 1 stitch into the end of each row. So right where I chained 1 there, I'm just going to go back into that stitch and single crochet. I'm going to try and work over that tail just like that. And then basically you can see where your rows are, right? So you've got some of the ridges there and some of the dips there. So just similar to how we did it in our bottom trim. So I'm just going to insert there and single crochet. And then in the next section, basically just eyeball it here. So this is the next section is right here, or the next row. And I always try and pick up more than 1 loop because I want to have some nice sustenance to my sleeve join. Okay. And then into the next row, which is right here, single crochet. Okay. So 1, you can really see that rib showing. And then the next one is usually somewhere kind of in between here. So the best way to do this too is at the end, if you're unsure, so you can see it's just creating a nice establishing round. So we're going to be working this sleeve in the round. And once you get up to the top here, just go back and count. Like in my case, I did 30 rows to create the armhole on each side. So whatever your number is, make sure that you have 30 stitches, and then it would continue the same around to the back. Now you may end up having an extra stitch or less a stitch. More often than not, it's less a stitch, because usually when you come back here, you're going to skip over and slip stitch here or at the top. Sometimes we miss a stitch. Sometimes you add a stitch accidentally. Either way, don't worry about it. As long as you're close to the number, we are good to go. We're keeping this a very super basic and easy design. So I'm going to leave you to do this. You're going to finish round number 1 of your sleeve, and then I'm going to meet back up with you, and we're going to talk about reintroducing our linked single crochet stitch. Okay, so I'm just at the very end of my round number 1, and I actually have 61 stitches. So remember, to 30 rows in the front, 30 rows in the back. So I ended up having 61 stitches, which is normal. I always end up with 1 or 2 extras. All I'm going to do here now is find that first single crochet. I'm going to slip stitch to join. Okay. And in creating our sleeves, even though we're working in the round, we're always going to turn our work at the end of every round so that our seam stays under our arm nicely. So we're going to go into row number 2, which is going to be the repeat for the rest of your sleeve. So we're going to chain 1 and turn our work here. And we're going to come back to doing the linked single crochet stitch. So as usual, we're going to start with a half double crochet, which is my preferable method. So we have a half double crochet. And now what's really cool is we have stitches to work into, so we don't have to kind of wonder where to place our stitch. And all we're going to do is our usual linked single crochet. You're going to go in through the left leg first, and then go into the next stitch and single crochet. Okay. And as always, just watch your gauge. You don't want to accidentally start getting too tight, because this is right at the armhole opening, and we want to keep it nice and comfortable. You want to be able to move your arm around for all of those Christmas party dances you're going to be doing. All right, so really straightforward, guys. This is all we're doing. As you can see, the linked single crochet. You're going to go around, okay? Once you come to the end, you will slip stitch to join, chain 1, turn your work, and then you're going to be working this way. Really important. If you don't do that, your seam underneath your arm is not going to stay put. You're going to have a seam that's probably going to trail this way. So that's one thing that you really, really want to pay attention to. Now, you're going to ask me, how long should I do this? So what I would recommend is do a few rows until you get around your bicep area, so between your shoulder and your elbow, and then try it on, see how you like the width of it. I am trying to keep this version very basic and simple, so I don't want to get too much into decreases. So we're going to keep it as simple as possible. So once you reach midway between your shoulder and your elbow, try it on, see how you like it, and then continue on until you reach your desired length. So you know what to do. Just linked single crochets, and I'll meet back up with you in a little bit. All right, so the sleeves are complete. I've got both of my sleeves done, as you can see there. Now, you may notice that the sleeves might look just a bit kind of short. And the reason for that is I measured the perfect length that I wanted for one sleeve, and then I did the other sleeve, and I was running out of yarn. And talk about playing crochet chicken. I really thought I could fit the second sleeve in, because I really don't want to buy a whole other skein of yarn just for this small little bit of red yarn, because this is it. I don't need to use this yarn for anything else on this project, and I'm trying not to have loads of yarn lying around. So what I did is I just measured how many rows I was short on one sleeve, and then I unraveled half of that number of rows on the other sleeve, and then I used that yarn to come out here. So I do have, I mean, you might not be able to notice it here, but I did try it on, and they're just a little bit short. But remember, we still have the cuffs we're going to do. And so that is going to be in part number 4. So in part number 4, we're going to do our cuffs, and then we're going to do our collar. So that will be the grand finale of our Christmas cardigan. And we will solve the issue of the length in our sleeve, as well as, if you did like me and you have a little bit of snugness in the body, this collar will add a little bit more to the girth of the project, and it should fit just nicely. Now, if you have any questions about what we've done so far in part 1, 2, and or 3, make sure to pop it for me in the description box down below. And as always, you guys know I encourage you to send me an email directly, and you can email me at info@crochetcrafty.com, and I'm very happy to answer any questions you may have. And what I would recommend is send me a photo, especially if you're emailing me. Send me a photo so then I can kind of see actually what is happening with your project and what you are discussing. And as always, come visit me on the Crochet Crafty website. There's lots of crochet tools on there for you, absolutely free. Right now, you may have noticed that I have lapsed the last couple of months on the newsletter, and I my deepest apologies. It's just been crazy, crazy busy. But what I'm doing is I'm going to work on a full fall winter newsletter, and I'm going to make up for all of those promised free written patterns. Because remember, guys, when you visit my website, I always encourage you to sign up for my monthly newsletter because I gift you a free written pattern every month. So I know I'm a little bit behind on a couple of those patterns. You will still get those free written patterns. And if you're so inclined, check out some of my other patterns on my Etsy shop at Crochet Crafty Canada. All right, that's it for now. This is the end of part 3, and we've got one more part to go, and your Christmas cardigan will be complete. So happy crocheting in the meantime, guys. And as always, make sure that you really do take really good care of yourselves, okay? And I will see you guys in the next session. Bye-bye.